Hello and welcome to the classic Hollywood movie you should know. I'm Nate Washburn. This week's movie is from 1940, The Shop Around the Corner, starring Margaret Sullavan, Jimmy Stewart, and Frank Morgan, directed by Ernst Lubitsch. The Shop Around the Corner tells the story of the employees of a leather goods store called Matichek and Company. They all want to get ahead. They all want to please Mr. Matichek, played by Frank Morgan. His number one salesman is Kralik, played by Jimmy Stewart. Kralik gets caught up right in the beginning. This woman walks in and asks him some questions, and then he finds out she wants a job. In a weird little twist, she ends up getting hired by Mr. Matichek. This is Clara Novak, played by Margaret Sullavan. So Kralik and Novak, they're rivals. They don't really like each other. They bicker, but you can tell there's an attraction there. There's a weird electricity between them, even though they fight constantly. And now they're both hopeless romantics. In the beginning, Kralik admits to his buddy that he answered an ad in the newspaper. This woman was looking for somebody to correspond with, to talk about culture, art, feelings, literature, love, everything under the sun. But the whole point of this is they don't give their names. So it's this correspondence, anonymous correspondence, and he's developing feelings for this woman that he's been writing with. He thinks she is the perfect woman. It's a very sweet story. All these odd sort of storylines get roped together, and the climax happens on Christmas Eve to create this beautiful little romantic comedy. It's a wonderful film. So Ernst Lubitsch, one of the most successful filmmakers, the 20s, 30s, and early to mid-40s, he was known for his romantic comedies. The Lubitsch touch is what it was called. He infused his stories with this glamour, with this dialogue, this really fast, really fun dialogue with a lot of double entendres. This film really is a great example of that. And he was quoted, Ernst Lubitsch was quoted, that he wanted to make this film because he wanted to pay tribute to the store that he worked in when he was a child, his father's store in Berlin. And that was what he based Matichek and Company on. The movie was made for $500,000. It only grossed $300,000, so it lost money. But it's become this classic. And it gets shown a lot around the holidays because, again, the climax happens on Christmas Eve. But Christmas is really secondary to the relationship between Miss Novak and Kralik. Frank Morgan, as Mr. Matichek, nearly steals the film. He's one of those actors who's known today primarily because he played the wizard in The Wizard of Oz. But he's brilliant in The Shop Around the Corner. Now, if the storyline sounds familiar, the storyline of the pen pals falling in love, not knowing who each other is, the rivals who end up discovering that they're perfect for each other, it's because this story has been remade many times. First, it was made into a musical called In the Good Old Summertime with Judy Garland. Then it was made into a Broadway musical called She Loves Me in 1963. And lastly, this movie was used as the story device for You've Got Mail with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. In fact, Meg Ryan's store in that movie is called The Shop Around the Corner, which is paying homage to this movie from 1940. So if you liked You've Got Mail, give a watch to The Shop Around the Corner from 1940. Great film. It's funny. It's romantic. It's classy. I love it. Highly recommend it. It's this week's classic Hollywood movie you should know. I'm Nate Washburn. Keep watching.